So I built my own package where you can easily add comments with reactions, or if you want to have it without reactions, to any of your applications or models super easily. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that would look like. So I've gone ahead and already created a new project here called comments, and all I want to do in here is just require this. At the moment it's getting the version 0.222, which is the newest version. And if you then go ahead, we can see we've already installed this version here. So what I want to go ahead and do now is I want to actually go ahead and publish our configuration, where we're going to be publishing our config file, which isn't really much to configure yet, which I'm adding on to add a few things there. We're also going to be able to have our views inside the vendor folder, so you can see exactly how the views are and you can customize them. There's a markdown editor as well. We also have our migrations here. So let's go into our database folder. We have a database.sqlite, which will be sufficient for this video, given this is such a small project. Let's migrate it all. That's great. So now that's migrated, we should be able to head into comments.test. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make sure we create a model as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and create, in this case, let's call this article with a migration. So I'm gonna go into create articles, and for now we just want to have a login here. We don't even care about a title because I just want to show you how this works. Let's go ahead and migrate this. So inside our app folder, inside our models, we need to make sure we obviously set the variables here that we want to fill out, which is slug for this one. So that's perfect. So that's now working. So what we want to go ahead and do inside web.php, inside our dashboard page, we just want to pass through an article here. So for now, we haven't even created an article. So when we get to the home page, we can just go ahead and say article create. And add in the slug. And then we can just say in here, article and we can just find the ID 1 in this case. Alright, with that sorted, the other thing we can go ahead and do is make sure we use commentable. So we just want to add this into the model here. Just like that. And inside our dashboard page, we could either do it with or without emojis. You can determine the emojis yourself. So if you go into our dashboard, let's go ahead and say we want to add all these emojis here, and I'm going to add some padding of 6 here to make it have a bit more spacing. And I'm just going to add an article instead. We also should go ahead and install the directive from alpha.js. Let's make sure we run npm run dev. In a moment, we also, in this case, because if you want to use this directive, you don't have to use it, by the way, then you would need to install date.js. You can also exclude this directive, but for now, I just want to go ahead and make sure we have date.js installed. So if we run dev now, this should work fine. This is an example of how you could create your own custom directive. So all you have to do is just add in the directive as human date, and then it will work. And there's an example of how to use the markdown editor. So if we go into comments.test now, and let's create a user. For now, you can see we have this comment ability here, so let's go ahead and say hi. And then let's add in a list here. It's just adding a list of random items here. You can see this works perfectly fine. At the moment you would need to add your own styling here, because I don't want to per se interfere with people's styling of how they want to style the markdown, but it's up to you how you want to do this exactly. You can go ahead and add any sort of emoji reaction here. If you want to reply to it, you could say hello, and you can also go ahead and delete it. And if I go ahead now again, I can just go ahead and comment again. If you go ahead and create a new user, and also let's go ahead and remove this duplicate here. Let's just call this person Tom. And let's reply. You see we can't actually edit or delete that comment because we're not allowed to. So that's another thing in here. And if we went into a database or created a bunch of comments, then you would also be able to see a load more function. So let's go ahead and just add in a few comments. I'm going to be back in a few minutes. The only other thing you want to add inside app.blade.php, also make sure you don't have, make sure you are not injecting twice here, so you can remove these because Livewire injects these automatically, so that may be an issue as well if you have automatically injected 2 components. But make sure you also have Livewire script config inserted. So if you go ahead now, in here you can see we also have a load more button, and if I continuously comment now, you can see that it works fine, because at the end of the day what happened before was that we didn't have the script config set. So the way that this works as well is that we're setting this directive, which we can take a look at now. So this directive allows us to essentially time out every set amount of time if we want to, and we basically time out every 30,000 seconds here, and this then allows us to essentially refresh the time with a date, with a time component. So basically while you're on the page the time would update automatically, and you would also get the 5 minutes ago down here because it's a time component. So it's a bit more user friendly this way. And again, you can easily customize the views. So if you wanted to, I could just go into our Livewire component, into our comments, and I could just say, well, I just want to have hello there, and you can see it just appears. So you can easily go ahead and customize the components as well. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching it, and I will see you in the next one.